Good morning, Mia. I just wanted to let you know I went ahead and made a reservation at the restaurant I told you about before. Oh, are you talking about Colleen's birthday party? Yes, do you remember us talking about that? There's an absolutely gorgeous restaurant downtown whose owner I know personally, and I told you that I'd handle making the reservation for Colleen's birthday dinner. Oh, yeah, now that you mention it, I do remember having a conversation like that. But yeah, I hate to tell you this way, but I already made a reservation at another place. You did? Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should have told you sooner. No, it wouldn't have made a difference. I would have done the same thing anyway. You what? I don't understand. Isn't it obvious? I don't want to have my daughter's birthday party at a restaurant that an old woman living off Social Security goes to. I seem to remember you saying that one of your former students owns it or something. And I mean, sure, some people might like that sort of Americana-style folksy diner, but me? Nah, I'm afraid I have much more refined tastes. I've become too accustomed to fine food to eat whatever slop they serve up at dirty little diners like that. My word, Mia. I can't believe you would be talking like this to me. You're being incredibly rude. You know what's rude? You thinking that I'm just as much of a peasant as you. Don't worry, the place I got a reservation at is one of the classiest restaurants in town. The food there would probably make the chef at your cheap little diner faint, lol. But Mia, you don't understand. I already made the reservation. They're planning on having a big party come on that date. I can't cancel it now that they've already spent time and money preparing for us. Seriously, Kelly? I don't care in the slightest about that restaurant. They're probably operating in the red already. It's not like one canceled reservation is gonna change things much, lol. So yeah, I'm sorry you wasted your time and everything, but we are not gonna go to your restaurant. We're going to the one I booked. This is far too sudden, though I simply can't cancel this reservation. Not with this short of notice. Look, I guess if you really want to, you can go to the restaurant you wanted, but no one else is gonna be there, so you'll be eating by yourself. Actually, that sounds like something a broke old woman like you would do. Go eat by yourself all alone in some dirty little mom-and-pop diner, lol. I've been holding back on talking to you about this because I felt it's not my place, but Mia, I can't help but notice that you've been acting different lately. Different? What's that supposed to mean? It's not just me either. Paul's been telling me similar things. He says that you've practically stopped doing the housework altogether and spend most evenings out of the house. You're spending money like it's going out of style. And then there's the way you've started to take a much harsher tone with me. You weren't like this back when you and Paul first got married. We always had a wonderful relationship. So please, Mia, tell me, what's happened to you? Nothing's happened to me, Kelly. I'm the same woman I've always been. Now, I will not tell you this again. I don't care if you are my mother-in-law. You don't get to give me crap about the way I take care of my own house. Is that clear? But that's precisely the problem, Mia. You don't take care of your own house. Yes, you are my daughter-in-law. However, Paul is my son and Colleen is my granddaughter. I don't know what's going on with you, but I can say one thing for sure. Something needs to change, Mia, and that something is your attitude toward your family. Oh, for God's sake, would you shut up? I don't need to get lectured by some crotchety old hag today. I'm out of here. Remember what I said, Kelly. Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong. Goodbye. Mia, wait! This conversation isn't over. her.
Well, we decided that we're gonna stay living together. I'll come by in a little bit to pick up Colleen and the rest of our stuff.
Excellent. I'll tell her you're coming. And what about Mia? Did she give you a proper apology?
She sure did. I could tell she was sincere about being remorseful. And I've done some thinking of my own, too. It's true that she had gone a bit crazy lately, but up until then, she's always been a great wife and mother. I'll bet that she was just under a lot of stress and I didn't notice.
You might be right. People often forget this, but a husband and wife are still two individuals. It doesn't matter how long you're together, you'll never fully know what's going on inside your spouse's head. Making a marriage work means constantly working to improve communication.
Yeah, and I learned that the hard way the last few months. Ever since I got promoted, I've been busier than ever at work. I've been doing my best to make time to spend with Colleen, but as a side effect of that, I had cut down on my time with Mia. I need to make sure I don't neglect her.
My goodness, Paul, I never thought I'd hear you saying such sensible things to me. To think my little problem student would grow up to be such a fine young man.
Okay, can you please not bring that up, like, ever again? Do you have any idea how embarrassing it was to have my own mom be my homeroom teacher?
What's the big problem? That way, you didn't have to worry about slipping up and calling your teacher Mom.
That's just trading one type of embarrassment for another. But you know, when I think about it, I've been relying on you basically my whole life. I remember how much grief I caused you around the time I started living on my own.
I'm your mother, Paul. Dealing with my son's trouble comes with the territory. You don't need to feel bad about that at all.
I might not need to, but I still feel bad. The first job I got after graduating college was a total dud. My boss was terrible, my coworkers were terrible, the office smelled terrible. And when I couldn't deal with it, I quit and moved back in with you. The only reason... Are you gonna try to tell me that this is all one big misunderstanding? For God's sake, don't do that! Try to hold on to at least some of your dignity!
I'm so sorry, Paul. I can't express how sorry I am. And I know I was wrong, but really? You're gonna divorce me just like that?
Hell yes, I'm gonna divorce you! Do you really not understand the weight of what you've done to me? To Colleen? I gotta hand it to you. You put on a pretty damn good act for me and my mom the other day. You had me genuinely convinced that you're a changed woman. But holy hell, Mia, you haven't just been leaving Colleen home alone all this time. You've been leaving her home alone while you've been cheating on me. Are you a complete sociopath? Do you even have a soul?
Paul, please, I'm really sorry. I never intended for this to happen. But you don't have to worry. I don't care about him at all. I was never serious about him. You're the only man I love, Paul. I don't want to lose you and Colleen.
If you didn't want to lose Colleen, then maybe you shouldn't have left her to fend for herself 3 nights a week while you slept around on me. I'm done with you, Mia. No more chances. I'm divorcing you, and I'm gonna seek sole custody of Colleen. So I hope you start looking for work pretty damn soon, because not only am I giving you nothing in the divorce, you're gonna be paying child support until Colleen turns 18.
No! God, please no. Don't do this to me. I don't want to divorce you. I don't know what I'd do without you. I swear to God, I'll never do this to you again, so please forgive me.
You know what Colleen told me about you? She said that she doesn't think you love her because you're never there to eat dinner with her or say goodnight. That's how much you've hurt your own daughter, Mia. But who am I kidding? You won't be moved by that at all. You're not even human. You don't even have a conscience.
I totally understand why you'd be so angry at me now. I really do. But think about it from my perspective. Ever since you got promoted, you've been working all the time. I was lonely. I couldn't help myself.
If you really couldn't help yourself, then you're even more of an amoral slut than I thought. You put your own... Deadlines are more like suggestions, if you ask me.
No, they're not. They're what you're paid to meet. You do realize this company pays you to do a job, right? I expect you to do it.
I do earn it. I tolerate boring meetings, don't I?
Stan, we've had 5 complaints about your attitude during meetings this month alone.
Who's snitching? Was it Marcus? I bet it's him. Dude always looks salty.
That's not the point. The point is, you don't take this job seriously.
And you take it too seriously.
It's my job to take it seriously. I manage this department.
Well, maybe if you were nicer, I'd actually want to work.
This isn't about being nice. This is about doing your job.
You can't tell me what to do.
I'm your boss, Stan. That's literally what I'm here for.
You know, you might want to watch that tone.
And why would that be?
Because my dad's in the mafia.
Excuse me?
mafia dad to intimidate the company into giving you a promotion? We're not as clueless as you think, Stan. Wait! You knew? Of course I knew. Carol gave me a full report. She what? She laid out everything you said. Every threat, every excuse. No, hold on. I didn't actually do anything. That's what the police said, too. There was nothing they could do until something actually happened. Exactly! So why am I being treated like the villain here? Because you threatened our executives, Stan. That's not something we can take lightly. I was just trying to get ahead. Everyone else has a fancy title. So your plan was to use your connections to blackmail your way to the top? It wasn't really blackmail. I just wanted to apply a little pressure. You said you'd have your dad threaten the CEO. That's not pressure, that's a criminal threat. It was a joke. You can't seriously believe I meant it. Carol didn't think it was a joke, and neither did I. So what? You just let her handle it however she wanted? She said she had friends who knew how to deal with people like you. And you were okay with that? I trust her. She's worked hard for this company and she's never let us down. So you're saying this was all planned? It was necessary. You put us all at risk, Stan. You've got to be kidding me, Thompson. You're seriously letting this happen? Calm down, Stan. Don't be a drama queen. Carol promised there would not be any physical violence. She brought a mobster to the docks! That's not a threat to you! She said she just wanted to scare you, and frankly, I understand why. You're telling me this was all part of the plan? Yes, she told me ahead of time what she was going to do. Unbelievable! Did you know she was connected to the mafia? Of course I did. I've known Carol for years. Then why would you ever let someone like her work here? Because she left that life behind. She turned over a new leaf. Seriously? You expect me to believe that? Her mother got sick. Carol needed money for treatment. So she just walked away from the mob and joined an office? She came to me begging for a job, any job. Still seems risky. Mob ties don't just go away. She was rough around the edges at first, sure. This is insane! But she worked hard. She kept her head down. And now she's threatening people with mobsters? Only because you pushed her too far. She didn't want this. And you trust her? Just like that? I've seen her grow. She earned my trust. By scaring people? By being a dedicated, responsible employee who's overcome more than you know. I can't believe this! She's not perfect, but she's come a long way, Stan. She's one of the most reliable people I've ever worked with. So no, her past affiliations with less than reputable organizations doesn't bother me in the slightest. There's not a single person at this company who works harder than she does. What about you, Stan? Do you think you work as hard as Carol? This isn't about me! The real issue here is Carol! She's the one causing problems for the company! No, Stan, you don't get to deflect like that. This has everything to do with you. What? You're always late. You blow off your responsibilities. You act like this is some kind of joke. Come on, that's not fair. You walk around like the rules don't apply to you, like you can do whatever you want without consequences. This has nothing to do with my performance. Carol brought in a gangster. And what did you do, Stan? Threaten executives, try to blackmail the CEO. You want to talk about problems? You're the biggest one we've got. You're siding with her after everything I told you? She's been honest, hard-working, reliable. She turned her life around. You've been nothing but disruptive since day one. So, what? You want me to just leave? If you actually cared about this company, yes.